All right, so let's just, okay, now we settle into a comfortable seated posture. And if you're sitting at your desk with your legs down on the ground, have them in a parallel position. Don't cross your legs over. But if you are sitting in the traditional meditation posture, then you can have your legs crossed. So whether your legs are down on the ground, on the feet on the floor, or whether your feet are underneath you, just bring your attention to your feet and just feel the sensations there, the weight, the temperature. Are they warm? Are they cold? Texture of whatever it is you're wearing, whether it's your socks or your slippers or no shoes on your feet at all. And you're just feeling the floor or your clothes or the cushion. And then bring your attention to your hamstrings, the weight of your legs on the chair, and then just feel your sits bones in your chair. And just release the weight of your pelvis into the chair. So we're just starting this relaxation process as we move towards the meditation, as we move inwards. Feel the sensation of your hand on your lap. Now imagine your spine is a beautiful string of pearls of light. And it stretches from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. So you're just lengthening your spine, putting some space in between our vertebrae. And go to the crown of the head and just release your scalp. So just relax any tension at the top of the head. Relax the forehead and the eyes, the eyebrows, the nose and the cheeks, the area around the mouth, the back of the tongue, the jaw. Relax the temples and the ears and the inner ear, and the back of the head. So your neck has a little bit of length in it. And what I mean by that is that your chin is going to be slightly down, so not too far down so it's on your chest, in which case you'll be falling asleep. If it's too high, if your chin is sort of sticking up like this, creates agitation in the mind, it creates constriction in the back of the head, just at the occipital bone there. So you want to try and avoid that. So just a little bit of length in the neck. Release tension in your shoulders, just let them drop down. And relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And bring your mind now to your breath. Just noticing the sensations of the air as you inhale and exhale. Notice the air flowing in and out of the nostrils. And the expansion and the contraction of the whole of the chest cavity. As you inhale 360 degrees. That's how we're designed. Not just into our chest. Just really feel all of the apparatus working there, keeping you alive. And then maybe some people like to focus on the rising and falling of the belly. So they bring to mind sort of just be aware of what you could possibly be distracted by in your environment. And for most of us, it's usually sound. So just allow all of the sounds to be there. Perhaps you have a pet in your home. Perhaps somebody's walking around. You can feel the vibration. So just allow all of those distractions. Sometimes people have notifications, either tapping them on their wrist from their phone or coming across their screen. So if you haven't disabled all of those and they're coming across and they're disturbing you, just see if you can just allow it to be there. You don't need to attend to anything right now. And then just check in with your mind. How are you doing this evening? So some of you are in Australia, so it's going to be around the middle of the day. So how's your day been so far? What's going on in the mind? So just be aware of the thoughts as they arise and abide, and then maybe dissolve. And they will if you don't pay any attention to them, if you don't give them any energy or get involved with the emotion of the thought. You can address the thoughts and categorize them, kind of keeps the emotion out of it by saying, oh, look, I'm thinking. That's a very simple one. Or I'm remembering. Or I'm ruminating. Or, oh, that's an angry thought. It just puts a little bit of separation and almost like objectivity between you and your sometimes not so functional thoughts. And then bring to mind some people of our life, our loved ones, our strangers, the ones we don't feel so affectionate towards. We have aversion for them. And just remembering that, due to impermanence, our relationships can be changeable. And they're all equal, these people. Everybody's the same in three ways. They want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. And they all have an extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind, enlightened mind. So we think we'll do this practice this evening for all these people of our life and by extension, all sentient beings. So we think there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, and equally we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we start with this power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience. We know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it does make sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So we think, I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, well, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. It has two sections, refuge and developing compassion. So refuge. We rely on the Buddha, Vajrasattva, who we actually see as a doctor, not as a higher power that's going to fix us. So we're doing the work here. So but he has these methods that we can use to purify. We don't need Buddha to forgive us. We're relying upon him, his methods to purify ourselves. So you visualize Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher, manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this blissful, radiant white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has a beautiful, radiant face, and his eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. And he has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. And so here, compassion. Why are we relying on other people for developing compassion? Well, we're relying upon other beings. So the very beings we've harmed, those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we've ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering for them sometime in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And then we come to this power of the remedy. This is the actual medicine. And here we do the practice of purification, and we use visualization and mantra. So we start with our body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it just keeps pouring into you until it forces out of the lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi mebiyata sawa kama sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi mebiyata sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum ha 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 ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi mebiyata sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum ha 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 ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi mebiyata sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum ha 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 ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi mebiyata sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum ha 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 ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi mebiyata sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum ha 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 ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi mebiyata sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum ha 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 ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. Next is the purification of our speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body. Except this time it forces up to the top parts of your body, all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space. So you imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs, all like inappropriate speech, just blurting out stuff, or lack of wisdom speech. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mebi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mebiyata Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mebiyata Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mebiyata Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mebiyata Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mebiyata Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Again, feel so happy. Your speech is now completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of our mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you imagine this happens instantaneously, just like flicking on a switch in a dark room, pitch black room, the light coming. So imagine the light, as the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind. So all your attachment and neediness and bitterness and grudges, disappointments and anger, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left as you recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mebiyata Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida me boa, Sitokaya me boa, Sipokaya me boa, Anarakta me boa, Sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Bhadrasapa Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida me boa, Situkaya me boa, Sipokaya me boa, Anurakta me boa, Sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Bhadrasapa Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida me boa, Situkaya me boa, Sipokaya me boa, Anurakta me boa, Sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Bhadrasapa Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida me boa, Situkaya me boa, Sipokaya me boa, Anurakta me boa, Sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Bhadrasapa Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida me boa, Situkaya me boa, Sipokaya me boa, Anurakta me boa, Sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Bhadrasapa Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida me boa, Situkaya me boa, Sipokaya me boa, Anurakta me boa, Sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And then think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of our body, speech, and mind. And this time imagine Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. So how this works is the nectar flows down, pushing out all the negativity of the body, and then the nectar flows up, pushing out all the negativity of the speech, and then the light comes and just blasts all the delusions. So we're working at a really quite subtle level here. We're working with imprints. Vajrasapa Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida me boa, Situkaya me boa, Sipokaya me boa, Anurakta me boa, Sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Bhadrasapa Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida me boa, Situkaya me boa, Sipokaya me boa, Anurakta me boa, Sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Bhadrasapa Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida me boa, Situkaya me boa, Sipokaya me boa, Anurakta me boa, Sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Bhadrasapa Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida me boa, Situkaya me boa, Sipokaya me boa, Anurakta me boa, Sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So now feel completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And then we come to the power of resolve, and this is the fourth and the final step in the purification process. So here we decide we want to refrain from harming. So the resolve is really this decision that we just decide. And it kind of gives us some guardrails and sort of directs our mind in a sort of a different direction, a more positive direction. So think of something that you know you have a habit to do that might be harmful to yourself or others, and think that you'll maybe think about that or work on it between now and tomorrow. Keep it simple. Don't make a big deal of it. Just reflect on it every now and then maybe try and make an effort to change that habit. And then think Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And you think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So Lama Zopa Rinpoche used to recommend to meditate a little bit on emptiness, at the end of all of the practices. So you think like this: in emptiness there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. And you can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So now we just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created by doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So now we do this little practice chanting the names of Manjushri, which is a sutra that His Holiness the Dalai Lama recommended that we recite for the swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche. With Vajra arrows serving as his weapon, his sword comprised of Vajras slashing all, upholding every Vajra bearing with just a single Vajra, ending strife. With eyes like Vajra fire, truly dreadful, with hair that's like a Vajra set ablaze, immersion of the Vajra, great immersion, with eyes like Vajra's eyes, 100-fold, with Vajra hairs that sprout upon his body, his unique figure marked by Vajra hairs, with nails advancing Vajras at their tips, with skin that's solid like a Vajra's core. Okay, everybody, let's have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for the swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for all of your own individual teachers. All right, everyone, lots of love. I will see some of you tomorrow morning at 6:30 Pacific in the same room or different room maybe, I don't know, for meditation. All right, everyone, lots of love. Nice to see you all, and thank you for hosting, Cynthia. And who else was hosting? Shayla. All right, okay. No, just Cynthia. Oh, okay, radio. Okay, thank you. All right, bye-bye, everybody. Good night.